All right, the popular Becker BK2 companion. I remember years ago when this knife came out and the buzz that it had. I absolutely had to have this knife. And at the same time, I bought the BK9 also, which I really like. This one, I messed around with it, and I just did not fall in love with it. I normally put my Carta scales on these, and I just haven't even spent the $30+ to do that. This knife has positive things and negative things, like any knives, but this knife was kind of built, to be that survival bushcraft. It'll do many things, but is a master of none. It's a 1/4 inch, 195 Crovan steel. It's about 5 1/4 inches long, the blade, and it's a 1/4 inch thick. When I hold this, it feels like I'm holding a chunk of metal with an edge on it, and it just doesn't do it for me. Now, the actual design of the handle isn't bad. It's the scales. They're real slippery. Again, for $30, you can replace that and you can get a nice set of scales that'll work a lot better. Some of the things, I put this through the paces. It will baton. It batons really well. It acts almost like a splitting wedge. You can really beat on this. I don't know how anyone could ever damage this knife. It would be awfully hard. But it will. It'll start at the top, and you just bash that down. It catches, and it just kind of like a wedge. It splits that wood. Again, it's not as efficient, but it'll do it because you can really beat on it. The other thing is it will you can do some fire sticks with it. You get down in there, but the problem is when you start to go in, it wants to dig in because of the angle of the grind here. It digs in, and again, it's not as efficient as a lot of other knives doing that. With this metal back tang here, you can again really beat it. The best way, the most efficient way, is just beat it in a piece of wood and draw back on it to get your fire stick or your fire starters. It works really well that way. As for just chopping, it doesn't feel great chopping. Again, I have a lot better knives that'll chop a lot better. But it'll do everything. When you're chopping a piece of wood, just a flat piece of wood, it does okay. You can kind of hammer on the back of it, and the issue is with this blade design, you can see that it comes down here, but then that's where your edge then starts. I guess it'd be like a micro bevel right here. So you're not really getting, once you start that cut, it stops on the edge and is really making the wood is making contact with the side, and it's separating the wood and not actually cutting it. So a thinner blade would do that a lot better. But all in all, it'll do it. In a pinch, this knife will do everything. It just won't do it well. I'm a big believer in putting jimping on knives. If they would have put a little jimping up here, like they do some of the other blades, and they put a nice choil right here, you could really get up on that knife and it'd be a little bit better. But overall, it does what it's supposed to do. I just can't warm up to it. I don't know why, but I'll get some haters because they love this knife, and I had to have this knife also. you know, I'll keep the knife. If there's ever a time I need to pry a car door open or punch a hole through a 55-gallon drum, this would be my baby right here. It's just indestructible. But for the, you know, by the time you add the scales to this, you're right in the area of buying an SE5 knife. And in my opinion, that would be a much better knife. Same blade length and same material with the 1095 steel. They're both coated. This, again, it has a 90-degree spine, but they put the coating on it. Being 1095 steel, it's going to rust, so they have to coat that. So you're not going to be able to use a ferro rod and get a fire started. Some people, they actually strip the coating off of this, and you can patina, and they say that you get better performance out of it. I'm not sure. At some point I might try to do that. You can also, you can take the finish off the back here, and you could use that for fire starting also, if you don't want to take all the coating off. But it's a robust knife, and something you can just throw in your truck, I suppose, and if you ever needed to beat on something, again, this would be it. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm going to show you two knives that I would recommend over this for doing different things. Actually, I'll throw a third one in also. I've been looking for that perfect knife that'll do everything really, really well. And I have a lot of knives. I don't know if I've ever found that knife. I've got knives that will excel in different categories. And I will, again, we can talk about those. But please like and subscribe if you like these videos. Leave a comment if you know of a knife that you think does everything really, really well, and something I should take a look at. Hit like, and we'll take a look at these other knives. Before we do that, I want to talk about the sheath. I didn't like the sheath that came with this, so I bought a aftermarket sheath. This is a lot better. I like it. It's a Cordura. It has an insert in here. You have a nice pocket. It's not big enough. You could probably get a multi-tool in there. Do that. Molly webbing. Flips open. You can put your belt in there. That's kind of a nice feature. That works really well with this. And then there are two clasps. Drain hole. So it's a nice sheath. That you know, makes a little better package. But Bushcraft, I think it's just too big and heavy. The edge, geometry is just not there. What I would, you know, for Bushcraft, this is the Ontario SK Blackbird. And this has a full flat grind. I believe this is 154 cm steel. It has a nice sharp 90-degree spine on it, so it'll start, you know, fires with a rod, no problem. Full tang. It's nice. Again, they could have put a little jimping up here, but it's not a big deal. Would have been nice. Again, choil here. You get up on it. You can get up on it pretty good. But with this design, it'll work really well with the finer detailing of the wood. Fire sticks, it'll baton, really nice also. But in my opinion, it's just a better knife. And now for a survival knife that'll do a little bit of everything, my favorite, this is the SE6. And I love this knife. It is a really nice knife. It's a little over 6 inches, the blade. micarta handle. Now see, they put the jimping up here and the finger choil right here, so you can really get up on that and do some nice work. The only negative, it's the same steel. It's a 1095 steel. They've coated this, for corrosion resistance. You can get a little spot where you can use a fire starter, and it has this nice the back tang here, like the BK, where you can really pound on it. It's a thinner blade. It's going to be a more efficient blade. Yeah, I like this a lot. So this, if I had to have one knife in my bug out bag to use, this would probably be the one. Now for a tactical knife, this would be an excellent choice. As you can tell, I'm definitely a BK18 fanboy. Really nice, the jimping, you can get right up there. You don't have a choil right here, but you have a nice deep groove here for your fingers. And the way you can mount this to a vest, tactical vest, and plenty enough blade to be a really nice tactical knife. I hope you enjoyed this, and it's an old knife. It's been out here forever, but this is kind of my take on it. Again, I'll keep it. It's a good pry tool. It's again, it's like a pry bar with a blade on it. I appreciate you watching. Stay ready and stay sharp.